Hey everybody, Darren here, 5-Star Physique. If you are new here, welcome. I am not new. I've been here for ages, but have been neglecting the YouTubes for a bit, and now I'm here to fix all that. If you're interested in more about what I do, you can check out 5starphysique.com, but more on that crap later. Right now, less boring, more learn. Everyone starts as a beginner in everything they do. It's a part of being human. You're gonna suck. Listening to me play guitar is proof of this. It's okay. It's also okay to want to put in the work to graduate up to those intermediate and advanced levels quickly. If we're talking about something like playing guitar, it's pretty easy. You practice scales, play songs, steal licks from other players, get a band together and jam. It's a tried and true formula and one I have not followed, ergo I still suck. So in bodybuilding, how do we do this? How do we go next level? Here are my top 5 tips. But first, before you even hear my list, what's your number 1 bit of advice for beginners? Leave it in the comments, please. Now, let's get on to it. Number 1, stop using a meal plan. To be clear, there is nothing wrong with following a meal plan, either that you found online or that's provided from your coach, but taking a bit more ownership of your diet and making macronutrient appropriate substitutions here and there will get you more in tune with how your body responds to food. You can swap food sources in and out, you can see how they make you feel and make mental notes about what works, what keeps you fuller longer, what sits better in your stomach, and what foods make it easier to adhere to your plan. If you're following a meal plan, you can also work with your coach to learn how to make food substitutions that fit within the plan's general framework. And if your coach says, no, follow this and only this, it's kind of a red flag. There's always more than one workable dietary approach. If your coach is inflexible on this, it's either an ego thing or they're trying to be lazy, or maybe a little bit of both. Number 2, take rest days and enjoy them. I always tell my clients to take at least 1 rest day a week, and the clearest sign of someone with a beginner's mindset is that they just have a hard time doing that. On one level, I love where their heart is at. They want to work and they'll do whatever they need to, but you need to recover as well. Those rest days are not only your best growth opportunities, but it's also how we manage fatigue and ensure that gym performance stays high over time. If someone never takes a rest day and says their performance never drops, that's a great sign that we need to look at some training footage from their sessions because the intensity probably isn't where it needs to be. They might be working hard, but not effectively. Even when my training is absolutely on fire and I'm dying to get to the gym every day, super motivated, I still love my rest days because I know it's an investment for better recovery and better performance in the long run, which means more sustainable progress. Bodybuilding is a marathon and you need pit stops. I'm mixing my metaphors there, running in NASCAR, whatever, you get what I mean. Number 3, dig deeper on exercise mechanics. This one is absolutely massive. One question I ask of all my clients in their check-in each week is to tell me about their best and worst training session of the week and why. An example of a great answer here would be someone who said their last leg day was a bit of a struggle because they didn't feel they were connecting well on their RDLs or something like that. This is a sign that the person knows how a movement should feel, but they're struggling with setup, a proper cue, maybe weight selection. Beginners don't tend to think about this stuff. They're focused more on moving through the workout, making sure they do all the stuff, getting a good sweat or a good pump, also not entirely our focus, and getting out. What you really need to do is understand the mechanics and the target muscle group of each exercise and how to pick the right weight and position yourself before and during each rep to maximize your activation. Pay attention to range of motion. Be mindful of proprioception. That's how well you connect with the feeling of a muscle that's working and contracting. Think about the long and short positions of the muscle being trained. Are you hitting both of those throughout each rep? This is an endless rabbit hole you can go down, but the deeper you dig, the better your physique outcome will be. Number 4, log your workouts and study the numbers. This is also 4. Now, I don't mean pulling out your logbook before bed and doing a mental replay on each session. I mean, you can, but there are limits to how psychotic we need to be about this. But definitely you need to be tracking these numbers with a focus on good, standardized form and progressive overload. Standardized form is super important because you don't want to hit a rep target at a higher weight just because you were cheating or shortening your range of motion, and progressive overload over time is what forces a muscle to adapt. A greater stimulus and a properly fed muscle will grow over time. So to that end, you want to chase progressive overload week to week, but also set to set. Start each exercise with a sub-maximal acclimation set or two and work up to your max and maybe past it just a bit. Small increases are great. Look at the range of numbers you have over a week or two and think about where you can progress. Maybe starting slightly heavier, maybe doing just 1 set at a slightly lower weight instead of 2, maybe reaching for an extra 2.5 to 5 pounds on the top end set. good notes from the previous week will help you make better decisions the next week. I use up and down arrows in my logbook to indicate that I had another rep or two in the tank or if the weight was a bit too heavy, respectively. And number 5, sweat the details. In bodybuilding, the big things matter the most. If you don't follow your plan and train hard consistently, guess what? You ain't getting shit done. Progressing past the beginner phase assumes that you're doing all this already. So, okay, we're doing this. Now, the details start to matter more and more since the basics are assumed to be boxes that are getting checked every day. So, what kind of details here are we really talking about? Sleep. That's the first one. If you don't sleep, you can't recover and you can't grow. Your gym performance will be ass, your mood will be garbage, and you'll generally be unpleasant to be around, and not just because of your high protein diet. If you routinely operate on little sleep and think you're fine, you're wrong, at least in bodybuilding terms. You need enough good quality sleep to grow. 7 to 8 hours is ideal for most people. Stress management is next. If you don't manage your stress in your busy life, you're always going to feel behind, and the consistently higher cortisol level that comes from that basically functions as metabolic poison when it comes to bodybuilding. Maintain a calendar to keep your life in order. Address your stressful situations head on, whether that's family, finances, work, whatever. Have that hard conversation you've been putting off. Pay that stupid bill. Take your precious dog for a walk so they stop giving you the death stare. Control what you can, and then learn to flush the rest straight out of your brain. Next, lab work and health. It's become almost cliche that bodybuilding and good health are incompatible, but they absolutely can be compatible if you monitor and track things. This is especially true and really more of an absolute requirement if you're using PEDs. Getting your CBC, CMP, and lipid panels checked regularly will ensure you're aware of any elevated blood or metabolic markers that can be a sign of a problem, and you can adjust your plan accordingly around those. Getting a hormone panel checked at key times will also give you insight into how your cycle is performing and if you need any additional interventions or changes to keep things in happy ranges. You can check your blood pressure and blood glucose at home once a week. Super easy, simple check to perform. And again, there are easy interventions you can do there if things are skewed. Not knowing about these issues feels safer and easier, but your longevity in bodybuilding depends on getting this stuff checked and then acting on the results. A bad lab panel doesn't mean your bodybuilding career is done, just that there's stuff to fix if you want to have longevity in the sport. So there you go. That's my top 5 list. What is missing from this list? Time. You can do all these things and still spend time as a beginner just because it takes experience to master these and really progress. Now, if you want more stuff like this, no. I'm not about to tell you to subscribe to this channel or buy my ebook or some other bullshit. No, just go listen to my podcast. I published episode number 224 a few days ago, and there's a massive archive of stuff to go through there, although I'd highly recommend starting from the most recent episodes and going backwards from there. Those earlier episodes are probably rough. I don't know. I haven't listened to them since I recorded them. The drop set on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, check out 5starphysique.com for more about me. I'm a full-time online contest prep and transformation coach, and I have been for over 10 years. I also have workout programs available and some swag if you want to rock the brand of East Tennessee's hottest online prep coach. I think I might be the only one also, but don't let that stop you. Okay. Yes, and please subscribe and like the video. Algorithm, YouTube, owned by Google, helps me out a bunch, blah, blah, blah. Later. Thanks for watching.